Hey, what's up, guys? So we're getting a first look at the finished bird. We're out here because it's just so dark in my trailer. Wanted to give you a good look at it first. It did something that I haven't ever done with one of these before. I'll go over that in just a minute. We've got obviously the V20 housing, SP5K, SPS circuit board, and we've got a twist shut-off valve. Excuse me. You can remove this, and you have just the internal air adapter in here, and you can screw an ASA into that, which will be included in case you wanted to run a hose, like tethered to a scuba tank or anything like that. Or you could just, excuse me, you could just put your ASA in here and not even worry about taking this out. But yeah, this will allow you to have a bottle on there ready to go without having your whole system pressurized. You just leave it unpressurized, and when you want to shoot it, you take it out of the closet and twist that, and you'll hear it hiss, and you know you're pressurized and ready to rock and roll. But oh yeah, this stock on this buffer tube is very tight. If you don't like that, I can switch it out to one that rattles around. Yeah, just let me know about that. It's pretty stiff though. It's stiffer than I like. But I know some of you guys like them to where they don't make any noise, and that one is certainly that way right now. Now, this one comes with 2 barrels, and I will show you how we did that directly. Okay, before I get into this, I wanted to explain how this works for those of you who don't know. The rare occasions that I do get these to modify and sell, as opposed to you sending me your stuff to get modified, the way this works is I'll get one in, I'll say I got it in, and then people will email me and they say, I want it. A lot of them want to prepay for it. And I say, whoa, hold up. I've got limited parts that I can work with, and it'll be a better end product if I'm allowed the freedom to do what I want with it. So what I'll do is I'll take down your name and your email address and give you like a slot. And then when I'm done with it, I'll go down that slot in order, go down those slots in order and say, this is it. This is what it looks like. This is everything about it. Do you want it? And they'll either say, yes, I want it, or they'll say, I'm good. So that's how that works. And I like it, and I hope y'all do too. But like I say, it's very rare that I get one of these to do this with anyway. So yeah, I have people in line for this one already, but it's not sold yet. So you can still hit me up. I'll tell you this, it's never taken more than 3 slots to get rid of one of these. And also, I have something else really strange that happened to me the other day. Out of the blue, I heard from Hodaka. And you won't know who Hodaka is unless you were from way back, from the Green Forum. And, well, Hodaka was a forum member, and I collaborated with him on the first magnetic augers. See, I did not have the ability to make one. I tried. I think I've probably gone over this story once or twice on YouTube, but most of you probably don't know it. So he said, yeah, I think I can do that. Yeah, let me see what I can do. And so he came up with these shafts. And that's back when we were using the floating springs, kind of like this. And we used this style for quite a long time before we started to notice some issues and some problems with it that definitely needed to be addressed. But yeah, this was like maybe 8 years ago, and everything was going great. He even basically built a version of one of these. Now, we were collaborating, you know, like basically this was like the first attempt at Freebird. And he came up with like something that had 5 18650s right here that were just mounted inside all of this. So this is very similar to what he came up with, except his wasn't detachable, and I always wanted a detachable pack, but it was right here also. I'll ask him. I've still got some pictures of that. I'll ask him if he doesn't mind if I show him. But anyway, he just disappeared. I had like 10 augers on order from him, and last I heard from him, I'm like, hey, did you send those augers? He's like, yep, I sent them. And then I didn't hear from him for like 8 years and never saw my augers. And he probably forgot about that, but I didn't. I haven't mentioned it to him, and I don't know if he watches my videos. But anyway, he just popped back into, like straight out of the ether the other day and emailed me. And he said he'd been through some stuff, didn't want to get into it, but I was like, I'm just glad my buddy's back. And so, yeah, hopefully, you know, now we can move forward, because he has the ability to machine some parts and stuff like that. Yeah, the other guy I was working with on Freebird V2, he just disappeared too. I don't know what happens to these people. It's like they just fall in a void and I never hear from them unless it's like 8 years later, and then I never find out what happened to them. So weird stuff indeed. Did y'all hear that? Rather large explosion. Anyway, so I've always wanted to do this, and it's not necessarily my idea, because this is how the GMC mix and match system worked, and I'm doing it with Drawsmax barrels, which were originally GMC's design. So yeah, you can do this with the SMG barrels and the tactical barrels, Drawsmax or GMC. We just ran out of shroud parts a long time ago, so I started making shrouds out of carbon fiber. And this is the SMG barrel. Anytime you take one of these out, it's okay if you leave the magazine in. And this is a very tight configuration, so because of all the work that I've done to it, so I'm not worried about it moving around. But if you have just a factory bird, this is all going to be kind of loose, so you need to be careful with it. A lot of times with those, it's best to do it, and I'm still being careful, by the way, but it's best to do it with it sitting down like this, where you've got that hopper supported, and then come in with your barrel this way. And you just got to fish that barrel down in there until you feel those barrel nut threads. And it can be a little bit tricky. You might need to throw some hair down there. So that goes on like that. Then your barrel bushing that I took off of our SMG barrel. This is our tactical barrel. We get that all the way down. We take our same shroud from the SMG barrel. We went with the carbon fiber. These parts that go along with the shroud are carbon fiber PLA that are printed. And that's the same material that I made the housing out of. But that's just a joiner piece. It's got, you know, it looks like this on both ends. So it just joins up with this other carbon fiber tube. And these carbon fiber tubes have a seam. It's kind of hard to find. But there it is. I try to, when I make these, I try to put that seam on the bottom. And then we top it off with our same barrel nut. And I haven't tested this bird out yet. I wanted to do it with the longer barrel because anything that it can do with the long barrel, it'll do with the short barrel. And there we have that. And yeah, now we're going to tune it. Hopefully, it's good to go right off the bat. I'll do some recording of that and put it in here. I'm not going to do the whole thing unless we get lucky and I don't have to do any tuning. But on to that. There's a couple of other things I wanted to talk about before I get into testing it out. One of the other things I'm testing out is this new slide check, and if it pans out, it's going to be going with it as well. What's different about this is the holes in it are really big. So this will be in effect a high flow slide check. Now, if this pans out, I wouldn't use this with over 1,000 psi, but in conjunction with a coil hose, a slide check valve normally is a choke point, but this being a high flow slide check valve, this will not be a choke point. That means you can get more velocity from, say, 1,000 psi than you could with a standard slide check. Now, a few things have to check out before I can sign off on this, but I pressure tested it several times and it seems to be okay so far. The other thing I wanted to touch base on was the battery. I'm not going to be including a battery with it. I thought about doing that, going on Amazon and buying a set of the aftermarket V20 batteries. And I was on there and there's so many different amperage levels. You know, like I've just been running the Craftsman brand 2 amp batteries, I believe they are. And that's plenty as far as I'm concerned. They do have an aftermarket 3 amp battery on there. You get 2 of them and a charger for like $50. So I thought about buying one of those kits and including it, but then you get into shipping lithium ion batteries, and I really don't want to ship a lithium ion battery with this. Just so there's no question about that. You know, I could tell them, yeah, there's a lithium ion battery in it, and they'd put stickers all over it. I'd just rather not deal with that shipping this thing. More than likely, it's going to go all the way across the country, too. So whoever ends up getting this is going to have to supply their own battery for it. Dog will hunt. We love not having to tune them. And these, the 08s, these models are a little bit more difficult to get to hit those extreme fire rates, because out of the box, the valve body doesn't line up with the barrel very well. For some reason, it's just with these 08s. But I've had a slew of the 08s come in, one right after another. And yeah, found a good way to address the issue. So here is everything that comes in the box. Oh, by the way, the high flow valve, check valve, did work out. And it is on a vintage new old stock Drawsmax hose. And you'll see there's yellow tape on both ends because the first one I tried was bad, so I had to put a different UFA on this hose, but it's all good now. Yeah, the reason why it's hard to get a slide check valve high flow is because you see that unfinished aluminum piece in there? There's little ports that go through it from one chamber, and then think of that as like a hollow chamber, and then with a divider in the middle, and ports that go out of one chamber, and well, you've got ports coming out of either chamber, and then a seal here and a seal here. So that slides over the output here, or where it just goes through. So when you slide it back and it dumps all the pressure out of the hose, it blows air across the seal. And I had to take the original seals out of this and put in some really hard, high-dollar seals. So it's working. Now, let's see what else. You get your tactical barrel, fake suppressor, genuine manual, and original stock, your tactical barrel parts that are used in conjunction with the bushing that is on here being used, and the barrel nut. This is how we were running it in there, with the ASA screwed into the shutoff. Now, when you're running it like this, your shutoff valve doesn't work at all, no matter what position that's in. But you're probably not going to run a hose much once you get, you might even already have it. Ooh. Proper sized paintball bottle. I like the 68 45s, 4500s. 68 cubic inches by 4,500 PSI. They fit in here very nicely, and they give you a good number of shots. Now, Ninja has recently come out with a Pro V3. I think it's like the Pro V2, but it looks like it's just a little bit smaller. And the Pro V2, they were building those in super high pressure at 1100 PSI output when you order them like that. I think that they are doing that for the V3. I think the V3 is just a little bit smaller, but it's got the rotatable bonnet that you can loosen and locate your pressure gauge anywhere you want and lock it down once you've got your bottle screwed on to that. And let's see here. You've also got your original barrel. And those can be fun because, I mean, this will all work with this. Might not be able to screw this on one-handed, but yeah, you can make a shorty with that. Now, these muzzles are what this attaches to with just that set screw, but I've done some cool stuff, attached cool things other than the fake suppressor to these in the past. I've got videos on that, like dart gun mods and shotgun mods. Those are fun. So you can play around with that. And yeah, your original housing, unmolested. And yeah, this stuff's getting hard to get a hold of. Yeah, your factory circuit board, unmolested. This one never even got the chip mod. I do have full auto chips if you want me to molest this so you can resell it. Just let me know. And that's about it. She is ready to go. I can't think of anything else. I know I'm forgetting something. But yeah, there she be. Later.